Now then, here we've got the upstream oxygen sensor and the downstream, and this upstream one is the one that is apparently giving trouble. But let's just have a look at this socket here. It's the plug that is on the O2 sensor wire, and the socket is on there, and it's the opposite way round on the downstream one. Okay, and they're different colours, so you can't get it wrong, but yeah, the wires are different colours on either end. There are two black ones at the bottom there, and then this blue and white, but just bear in mind the clip is here, okay, and the red and the yellow, the blue and the white. Right, let's go and have a look at an oxygen sensor, and let me tell you this story of fear and loathing and vehicle electrics. Okay, so we've got a management light on, and the code said upstream or bank 1 sensor 1, O2 sensor, heater circuit. Yeah, I pointed it out in the little video clip showing the underside. So the heater circuit is the two wires the same colour. Okay, and on this connector, that's where the clip is there, and that there is where it attaches to the little bracket. So the heater circuit is the lower two connections, and I know this particular heater circuit on this, if we can get this, we can't really see, but there you go, there's nothing there, it's a dead circuit. Meter does work, there we go, yeah, but there's nothing there, so that's a dead one. But in the case of the one in the car, it wasn't dead. Zoom out. This is another O2 sensor. Okay, and this is a Denso, and there's the part number. And this is for a 2005 CRV, 2 litre petrol. Okay, so the clip's there, the bracket's there, it's the bottom pins. Hopefully, zoom in. So that's a good heater circuit. Okay. So, I phoned Steve for a bit of advice. Yeah. And he said to isolate the fact whether it's the fault is these pins here or in the wiring, yeah, slide some dressmaker's pins down the back on the wire side. Now you appreciate this is the O2 side, and we're talking about the other socket that goes over here. Yeah, but basically what I did with a pair of snipe nose pliers or needle nose pliers, I slid a pin in there like that, and then another one in there like that. Okay, so basically you're connecting to the wires rather than the pins. Now the interesting thing was that one of these I had to push really quite hard with the pliers, and it felt like it was just going, I don't know, how do you describe it? It was just pushing something in place. Now these are sealed. You can't take these apart, whereas the plug that's on the top of the fuel pump that does the fuel pump and the sender unit, you can take it apart. And in that particular, and I've done the video about that, I found that the earth wire, the actual connector, wasn't clipped in properly into the plastic plug housing, and pushed that in place, and then it worked. And that was another one of those, where are we going to find the problem here, having changed the pump and this and that and the other and experimented and you name it, and it was down to a simple problem like that. Anyway, so at this point I switched the ignition on. So you imagine that this is connected to the wiring loom, yeah, okay, and then I had this affair that went to the negative, and here we got a probe. We've got a battery there. So that was on the negative of the car battery. There we go, see? So that tests not only for voltage, but it tests for the ability for a circuit to conduct current. Because you can get voltage, but as soon as you put a load on it, it disappears. It's a ghost voltage. But with this, it actually tests whether it will do. Right, where was I? So that was on the negative. So we've got a negative here. Now, Steve said, okay, what happens is you've got, as soon as the ignition's on, you've got a permanent positive to one of these wires. And then the other one goes back to the ECU, and the ECU switches the negative. Yeah, okay. So what I did was, having pushed these in and felt that little sort of click, as it were, then I took this negative and went, no, no, yes. So now we were getting a positive there, whereas previously I'd tried it on the pin and there wasn't anything. Yeah? So having got a positive there, I went to the pin and I was getting a positive there. So pushing the pin in had done something to the internals of that plug, socket, whatever you want to call it, on the loom. So I put it back together, and lo and behold, it works. So I think there's something a little bit not quite right in that loom plug. So that's why I don't want to take it apart again. But I might see if I can get a new plug, and then I can wire it in. Yeah. But at the moment, it's working, so we're happy. So there you go, a bit of perseverance, but it took a long time. Took that messing around for half an hour here, and then thinking about it for a day, and talking to somebody else, and then having another go, and this, that and the other, just working out what was going wrong. And I actually went round with this on the negative, and I went round all the fuse box and checked either side of the fuse. Yeah, all of them. It wasn't necessary to do all of them, but I did decide to do it anyway. None of the fuses were bad. Besides, if a fuse was bad on the power supply to the ECU, then the car wouldn't start at all anyway. But it was starting and running, but had this warning light on, and a lot of people go, "Ah, warning light doesn't really matter." But you know, if it's for something else, like for instance, yeah, your fueling is far too rich, then you're going to end up burning the cat out, because you're going to be putting neat fuel into the cat, and at some point, you know, it's going to burn it away. So I think the warning lights are useful, but they're not useful when they're for stupid things. Yeah, and the more modern cars get, the more stupid things are on there. Yeah, it's as if these companies are just showing off. Yeah, all we want is a real basic car, a people's car that'll do the basics. This CRV, it's great. Yeah, it's automatic. It's got cruise control, for long journeys is wonderful. Yeah, but it's a bit too fancy, really. Yeah, and that's 2005. So I'd hate to think what a sort of 2020 car is like. Yeah, unfixable, I suspect. Anyway, that was the basic idea. If this in the future helps you, and it saves you from a world of pain, then please subscribe. And if you haven't already, subscribe anyway. But if it does help you, then just consider sharing your fortune with me and buy me a beer through my PayPal. Hopefully that all makes sense. I don't think I've missed out anything. The pins, yeah. Oh, and then of course, whilst we're here, I'm just going to add this little drawer in. Okay, where are we? There we go. I drew it in the manual, so therefore on that one, this is on the back of the loom plug. The white is the DC positive, the green is the one that goes to the ECU and is the switch negative. So there you go. And this is the one here for the pump plug. So having learnt something, write it down in the manual. And there you go. Anyway, hopefully you find this interesting. Comments always appreciated, and I will catch up with you soon. Cheers for now.